Jamaica is reported as having the highest incidence of prostate cancer per capita in the world. The incidence of prostate cancer in Jamaica currently stands at 78.1 per 100,000 men, and the mortality rate at 63.9 per 100,000.
Alarming statistics that we hope will push all our men over 40 to get screened. Keep watching for more information. Hello, I'm Theodore Henry, and you're inside Jamaica Magazine, the program of choice for every well-thinking and productive Jamaican. Call a friend, call a neighbor, and get comfortable. It's going to be an informative show.
Jamaicans, let's celebrate our wonderful tourism industry, which has brought millions to our shores. It's Tourism Awareness Week 2014, September 21 to October 1, and the theme is Tourism and Community Development. Activities include Jamaica Product Exchange 2014 at the Montego Bay Convention Center, a community tourism fun day at the Milk River Hotel and Spa in Clarendon on September 27, a Tourism Awareness Week church service in Ocho Rios on September 28, and a community tourism familiarization tour in the Cockpit Country Trelawney on October 1. Students and teachers can also get involved as there will be trips to hotels, villas, and attractions. To know more about Tourism Awareness Week, call the ministry at 920-4926-30.
Good day, I'm Andrea Chisholm, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, September 18. There are indications that the Jamaican economy may grow more than originally expected in the next fiscal year. The initial growth target was between 1.5 and 2%.
Based upon identified projects, particularly in tourism and in relation to renewable energy, there is prospect for the 15-16 fiscal year for growth to exceed this and to extend into the range of 3% or more.
The finance minister was speaking on Wednesday at a post-cabinet retreat press briefing where he announced the formation of a subcommittee to identify and remove impediments to growth projects. A technical secretariat to support the committee will also be established within the Development Bank of Jamaica.
And steps are already underway to secure appropriate staffing and to have a technical subcommittee paralleling the work of the ministerial subcommittee that has been established.
The two-day cabinet retreat marked an early start to the 2015-2016 budget preparations. Under the new fiscal rules incorporated into the Financial Administration and Audit Act, government is now required to pass a budget before the start of an upcoming financial year. Parliament will also have to pass a supplementary budget before the end of this calendar year. Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson has sought to assure the country that the ministry is handling the chikungunya virus. He's urging Jamaicans not to panic, asserting that the ministry is following established protocol in dealing with chikungunya.
We are operating within the framework of a protocol determined by the World Health Organization and the Pan American Health Organization. And that protocol is what guides us.
Minister Ferguson was speaking following a tour of the Yalas Primary School in St. Thomas, where there's been concern that the high levels of absenteeism among both teachers and students is as a result of the chikungunya virus. The minister also revealed that even as the school remains open, an investigation into the high absenteeism at the school has been launched. Although no mosquito breeding sites were identified, Dr. Ferguson said the ministry fumigated the school as a precautionary measure. In education, the Early Childhood Commission, the ECC, is reporting that it has exceeded expectations since its inception 10 years ago. At a recent function in St. James, ECC Commissioner Dr. Rose Davies noted that the organization has achieved much in that decade.
When you consider the abundance of new and essential and important data that have been generated by the ECC in the last 10 years, that can support the forward planning for the early childhood sector. I think we can all agree on one thing, and that is that for a 10-year-old, the ECC has achieved way beyond its expectations since its birthday.
And as part of activities to celebrate its anniversary, the ECC has been rewarding outstanding teachers in the sector across several parishes. In St. James, 10 teachers with an accumulated 416 years of service to the early childhood sector were honored by the ECC. Also in St. James, the Cornwall College now has a 120-seat chapel built at a cost of $33 million. Construction on the building began in 2012. It includes offices for the school's chaplain and secretary along with bathrooms. Speaking at a recent dedication ceremony, the Ministry of Education's Western Regional Director Hilary Foster noted that the construction of the chapel is yet another historic achievement for the school. Effective January 2015, all sawmill and power saw operators must be registered and licensed with the Forestry Department to operate legally in Jamaica. Permanent Secretary Alwyn Hales said the registration program was a necessary intervention in the government's efforts to preserve and conserve the island's forests.
There is no question about the ministry's commitment not only to preserve and conserve the island's forest cover, but also to educate and engage communities across the length and breadth of Jamaica about the importance of our forests to our lives and livelihoods.
A license is required whether the source of the lumber is from private or public lands. The application fee is $15,000 and once granted, the license is valid for 1 year. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Thank you for watching.
Householders, business people, school administrators, protect yourself and your children from the chikungunya virus. Be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Chikungunya is a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds in and around your home, workplace, and school. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET. And if you're experiencing symptoms of chikungunya, a sudden high fever, headache, rash, nausea, pain, stiffness, or severe joint pains, see your doctor or go to the nearest health center.
The total population at risk is currently at 400,000 men between the age of 40 and 75 years.
We promised to continue the conversation on prostate cancer. We got a timely update from some experts recently. Let's listen now to Hewlett Gordon of the Jamaica Cancer Society, urologist Dr. Belinda Morrison, and Dr. Audley Betton, who's living with prostate cancer.
Over the last 3 years, the Jamaica Cancer Society as a single body has screened in excess of 2,000 men. Combined with our partners in the Ministry of Health and the private urologist, we are collectively screening below 10% of the total population at risk. This is cause for great concern considering the high mortality rate. This means that early detection is not happening, and these men are being diagnosed in an advanced stage of the disease.
Not only are they coming with advanced disease, they're coming in much later in age, and that's an issue, and it speaks to screening. Now, we know what the risk factors are. They have not changed, and from year to year they remain the same. So the risk factors are modifiable and non-modifiable, and the non-modifiable risk factors are certainly more. So these are advanced in age. It's a disease that a man will get as he gets older. And my experience has been also that the younger men tend to have much more aggressive disease, particularly if they have a strong family history. The other risk factor is the black race, which we are not short of in Jamaica, right? And if you look at other locations where there are black people in predominance, in other Caribbean islands, in the United States itself, black men are always at high risk for getting disease, but not only getting the disease, but also dying from the disease. So if you look at the figures in the US, when they look at blacks versus Caucasians versus Hispanics, blacks are always leading. It's reported that they're almost 1.7 times more likely to be diagnosed with the disease than Caucasians, and also more likely to die from the disease. So biologically, it's more aggressive in blacks, and this may be due to genetic factors which we cannot modify, right? Family history is also important, but unfortunately, a lot of men in Jamaica don't know a lot about their families. So if you ask them, did your father, did your uncle, did your grandfather have the disease? Have no clue. Maybe never met their father or their grandfather, or just not something they have discussed. But it is so important because if a family member, even one person in your family, was diagnosed with the disease, your risk is greater. So if one man in the family was diagnosed with the disease, the risk is doubled. That's significant, right? If 2 men are diagnosed, the risk is multiplied by 5, and it's exponential. So it makes sense to know what your family history is like. And it doesn't necessarily change the age at which you screen, so we still say start at age 40, but you are much more aware of how the biological aggressiveness of your genetic pool, and that you will not miss a year of screening at all, right? But these risk factors, such as advancing age, such as race and genetics and family history, can't do anything about, right? But what you can potentially do things about is the one modifiable risk factor, which is lifestyle. And more now studies are linking lifestyle and the role it plays in causing prostate cancer, and also trying to prevent prostate cancer, or even when persons have established disease, in trying to control it. So I've seen it even in men who already have prostate cancer and they are on treatment. If their lifestyle remains the same, with the lack of exercise, or unhealthy diet, their response to the treatment is poorer, and that has been proven statistically, right? So diet and lifestyle changes in terms of exercise level, it is very, very important. And yes, there are many reasons why men do not screen, and it's not just the fear of the rectal exam. You know, they've actually studied this, and in African American population, they found that the main reason the men didn't screen was because they were just afraid of being diagnosed with a fatal disease. So it made sense to just avoid going to a doctor to be told you're sick when you don't even physically feel ill, you know. Yes, the DRE is an issue, and homophobia may be an issue, but it's not the only issue. It's also the fear of the treatment-related side effects, which, might I add, they are not an absolute that it will happen. Yes, we know that there are risks with treatment, but these treatment related side effects can be addressed, can be treated, can be dealt with, right? So what we really recommend is that once a man gets to the age of 40, he is screened.
Prostate cancer, I have had it for, 6 years? And I have no doubt that I will continue to be here for a while. And I think my getting it was the opportunity to help many, and I will continue to do so through whatever avenue I can. Not afraid of dying, obviously. It has strengthened my faith, and the reality is that I have medical issues which I just have to deal with. I exercise more now, I eat differently. So the longevity of your well-being with prostate cancer is determined by your lifestyle. And the more you can change to good, the better off you'll be.
Jamaica is reported as having the highest incidence of prostate cancer per capita in the world. The incidence of prostate cancer in Jamaica currently stands at 78.1 per 100,000 men, and the mortality rate at 63.9 per 100,000. The total population at risk is currently at 400,000 men between the age of 40 and 75 years.
See, prevention is better than cure. And until we get the mindset of our Jamaican men that their own health is their responsibility. Because as a practicing physician, well, you know my style. It is about educating the patient and letting the patient assume responsibility. And to the extent that you are investigated is what you don't have. So the earlier you start, the better off you are. So once you get that complacency going and the routine going and knowing, as far as prostate cancer is concerned, that early detection almost amounts to a cure, then the earlier you start, the better. Because I have men in their 20s and 30s who do their PSA every year.
This is my appeal, Jamaica. Give blood for it.
Give blood and give the gift of life. So safe you don't have to think twice. Do what you can for one another.
Yeah, man.
Be a hero, be a blood donor.
Yeah, me people. Watch it. Give blood. For your sister and your brother, save the life of another. You might never know.
Give blood.
As you love my life, you love many people. One blood. The Father says so.
One blood.
Sign up today. Be a blood donor. Many people. One blood.
It's often said that water is life, and blood is thicker than water. Truth is, blood is also life. Availability of the life-giving substance can mean the difference between life and death. So we're encouraging you today, don't wait until a loved one is sick to give blood. And don't be afraid, giving blood is safe. Still not sure? Watch this.
As long as man is around to get sick or injured, blood will remain a high-demand substance for health practitioners. But for all its wonderful properties, the life-saving bodily fluid could become a death sentence if not handled properly. For those who need their supplies boosted, health workers cannot simply hook up a needle and feed the red and white cells from another individual straight to the needy bloodstream.
It's not just a simple matter of collecting blood, finding out what the group is, and then passing it on to the recipient. There are lots of other things that go into providing safe blood.
Think of blood like a home. Certain fundamental things like walls, floors, and ceilings are common to all, but the little things you put in over the years and experiences you have within those spaces make each unique to its owner. Like your home, blood can change owners, but you have to make some adjustments to have it meet the needs of the new recipient. That is what the technicians and health workers have to do before blood that is donated can be passed on to someone in need. The first step is to screen the donor to determine their medical history and suitability to donate.
The screening is aimed at 1, protecting the donor, and 2, protecting the potential recipient.
After that, it's a matter of sterilizing the donor's arm and proceeding to draw the blood. From there, the blood is taken to the lab, where it goes through a series of tests. Technicians look for things like blood groupings such as A, B, O, and Rh types, antibodies in the red blood cells, venereal diseases such as syphilis, HIV, the virus that causes AIDS, hepatitis B and C, which affect the liver, and HTLV, human T-cell lymphotropic virus type 1 and 2, a virus that weakens the immune system. At the island's blood bank, the National Blood Transfusion Service, tests such as these are carried out daily. For each unit of blood drawn, 2 sample tubes are also collected. These are referred to as the red and purple top. For accuracy, data on the tubes must correspond with the main bag. The purple top sample is used to screen for antibodies and blood groupings. Blood grouping is just as important as the infectious screening. This ensures compatibility for the recipients, that is, people of the same blood group receiving the same blood type.
We do our ABO grouping here at the blood bank using the Diamed system. This technology is a gel system. It has microtubules, otherwise we call it as wells, and it has our anti-sera already in these wells.
A drop of the donor blood is placed into each of these wells. It is incubated and put in a machine that spins the substance at a high speed. After this process, a reading is given.
This is an example of a blood group. We can read it macroscopically. This is reading O negative based on the cells that are seen here.
In VDRL testing, which checks for syphilis, a small amount of the serum or the white part of the blood is dropped into a tube and then incubated at 56 degrees Celsius. After 30 minutes, it is taken from the incubator, placed on a slide, mixed with an antigen, and then rotated at 180 degrees for 4 minutes. The slide is then placed under a microscope for reading. A positive sample for syphilis would show signs of lumps or flocculation. Samples from the main lab are taken over here for the human immunodeficiency virus HIV screening, as well as the human T-cell lymphotropic virus HTLV and hepatitis B and C screenings. The different reagents or chemical compound for each of these viruses are added to the blood samples and placed in this machine. The reagent will cause a color change to the sample, indicating a positive reading.
Basically, it interprets this color change to a numerical value, which we can quantitate. Either if it's positive, it tells us the degree of positivity based on the numerical value, and if it's negative, we also get a numerical value, but we also have a cutoff value which can tell us whether it's negative or positive.
Whole blood is never administered as part of safety measures. The whole blood is separated into components: red blood cells or packed cells, plasma, or white cells.
If you had a patient who was anemic, who is in heart failure, and you gave whole blood, you're giving that person a lot of plasma unnecessarily. They really need the packed cells component. Not only is it unnecessary, but you put them at added risk of making the heart failure worse. So it is important to give just the component that is required.
And the safety procedure doesn't end there. A cross-matching process is also done to identify minor blood groups that might interfere with a successful transfusion process. But once all the tests are done to satisfaction and the separation process is completed, you can rest assured that the blood to be administered is safe.
Hey! Hey you! Me? Yes you! Are you between the ages of 9 to 12, attending a primary or a prep school? Do you want to go on a treasure hunt? No, no, no! You don't need to go that far. Our island home has a lot of hidden treasures, and this is your opportunity to explore.
The Jamaica Information Service Heritage Essay Competition is here again for its 4th staging. Your challenge is to type a 400 to 500 word essay on which national heritage site is most significant and why.
So gear up, boot up that computer and start trekking.
You need to download the application form online at jis.gov.jm. For more information on what you need to complete your exploration, call 926-359-024, extension 2137 or 2133. Your journey should be completed by Friday, October 31. The typed essay should be submitted online via the entry form on the JIS website at jis.gov.jm.
It's Senior Citizens Month, and many of our elders spend much of their years contributing to community and national development. Some give back even to the very end. Take Mama Joy for instance. In this next feature, we highlight this selfless Jamaican matriarch and a few others who selflessly gave of their time in service to others.
And then a hero comes along with the strength to carry on.
A bedrock community man, a community organizer, the Good Samaritan. Heroes of a different kind. They are among a special group who mentor and empower lives, contributing to the improvement of social and welfare conditions, self-development through education, employment, and overall community building.
That a hero lies in you.
On October 15, 2012, close to 30 unsung heroes were recognized for their contribution to community service and development. These are individuals who have given selflessly and worked tirelessly towards nation building. The awards ranged from the Order of Distinction, Commander and Officer ranks, to the Badge of Honor for meritorious service and long and faithful service.
And we salute you, James Palmer, for 45 years of service.
Mr. Patrick Salmon Ware for long and outstanding service to government and community service. Mrs. Millicent May Williams for community development.
She is receiving her award for her invaluable and selfless contribution to the development of communities in her native St. Thomas.
They and others received public recognition for invaluable contribution to their communities, parishes, and indeed their country, for sowing the seeds of care and kindness that should reap significant benefits for future generations.
Mr. Calvin Seymour Lynn for his contribution to nation building through community service. Mr. Roy Gasford Beckford for long and faithful service in the field of community service.
Then there's Mama Joy Baker, who has been providing financial, educational, religious, and moral support to hundreds of young people in Southside and other communities in central Kingston for decades. Through his outstanding humanitarian service, Ralston Mackenzie has reunited numerous lost and estranged family members and friends. In addition to Christmas treats for children and back-to-school supplies, this funeral home director has also provided free refrigerator service to the Savannah Lamar Hospital for over 20 years, and organizing a soup kitchen that caters to over 100 persons, providing clothing for the needy, and bringing doctors to the island for voluntary service to communities are all part of the routine of Leela Anderson. Her mantra is, the more I give back, the more I will be blessed. These are but only a few of the men and women who, through unwavering dedication, continue to give of themselves in service to others. Their stories are further told by the applause, respect, and recognition being given. Undeniably, it can be said that giving of one's self is not just about what you do, but a reflection of who you are. Selfless, thoughtful, and dedicated to the cause, making these individuals heroes of a different and special kind.
That's all we have time for today. But as usual, we have a program for you every day on this station, so join us. Keep sending those comments to jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm and your tweets at JIS News. Our website has lots of information as well as shows you may have missed, so get connected at jis.gov.jm. On behalf of the production crew, I'm Theodore Henry. Take care and stay safe.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.